Hey guys, so today I'm going to be talking about an article called Throwing Like a Girl, a Phenomenology of Feminine Body Comportment, Motility, and Spatiality by Iris Marion Young. This article looks at the idea between Straus's idealization of how there is a difference between masculine and feminine body comportment and movement, which was found on page 138. Little thing to know about me, why I kind of chose this article is I used to play baseball for 10 years. So growing up, I've always heard, don't throw like a girl, throw like a boy. And I am a cisgendered female. So what does this mean? And I never really knew until now. So the article basically looked at the idea of how the human body moves, especially when throwing objects like a ball, a baseball. Straus looks at the idea of feminine essence, which is expressed by Beauvoir. Young says that every human existence is defined by its situation, the particular existence if the female person is no less defined by the historical, cultural, social, and economic limits of her situation, also found on page 138. Now, looking at that feminine essence as a whole, I don't know how... See, I can see some good things and bad things when it comes to that quote because, girl power, but at the same time, it's like if we're being judged based upon the history, the culture, and social and whatnot, we shouldn't be limited to our situations. But let me go further into this. So, de Beauvoir in 1974 mentions that the woman's bodily being and her physical relation to her surroundings, she tends to focus on more evident facts of a woman's physiology, found on page 139. And that was intriguing because I can see why women would tend to be more focused on the facts, just based on our own brain as a whole. And then de Beauvoir talks about how women experience their body as a burden, found on page 139. And the burden that was mentioned was things such as puberty, menstruation, and pregnancy. But if you look at today's world, those things are celebrated. Like when a girl gets her first period, it's a big deal, and it's expressed as a happy thing. So I don't really see how that could be a burden to the female body. That being said, Young also discusses how a woman's body's specific task is to be a sexual being, found on page 140. However, another thing to be considered is the unconsidered structure body movement, which does not have a particular aim as dancing. As soon as I saw the word dancing, I got very upset because I am also a dancer, and I'm just like, what do you mean the unconsidered structured body movement, which has no particular aim, is dancing? I like to dance. So basically, the woman's body is a sexual being and not made for dancing. Got it. So, reading further into the article, we get into another person whose name is Merleau-Ponty. And they discuss that it is the ordinary purposive orientation of the body as a whole towards things in its environment, which initially defines the relation of a subject to its world, found on page 140. And I can see how that makes sense, because we want to make sure that we're doing things for our body and to our body, and how it's like my body does things differently than someone else's body because my environment is subjected to different things than the other person. So I'm a dancer, so my body goes through more, not like intense labor or like physical, I guess you could say physical activity, rather than, someone who doesn't dance and they maybe are just doing a 9-to-5 job, sitting at their desk. So I can see how like the different orientations take into effect. So our bodies are limited to do so much and can change within the environment. So I may be short and 5'2", but I'm a lot stronger than people think I am. So I think that's kind of interesting. Young also discusses that Straus has observed when looking at how boys and girls throw that girls do not bring their whole bodies in motion as much as boys. They do not reach back, twist, move forward, move backward, step, or lean. And that girls tend to remain relatively immobile, except for their arms, and even the arm is not extended as far as back as it could be. Found on page 142. Now, as someone who's played baseball, I was like, how does one throw a ball without moving? Because if I take my ball, just throw it like this, it's not going to go very far. However, if I step back and move my arm back, it's going to go a much farther distance than if I were to just stand here and throw it like this. So, okay, I can see where they're going with this. Young also discusses other differences between males and females, specifically like on how they dress. So, I don't think that, I guess there are still differences between males and females on how they dress, but I don't think it's more of a defining feature anymore. Like, I could have put on a nice dress, I could have done my hair, put on makeup, and I didn't. And they looked at how like women sit compared to men. So men will tend to have their legs open, whereas females will have their legs closer together. Maybe it's because I don't wear dresses. I'll let you in a little secret. I don't close my legs when I sit. I have them open. Like, it's just how I sit comfortably. I like wearing baggy t-shirts. I don't like wearing like dresses and nice shirts. It's just me. So I like finding these differences within the article within myself, because I think society as a whole has changed as well. Young mentions that there is 3 modalities of feminine motility. So one being the works of Merleau-Ponty, which he looks at how the body is first locus on intentionality as pure presence to the world and openness upon its possibilities, 145. Merleau-Ponty also looks at the intentionality in motility. However, when talking about female existence, it does not enter bodily relations to possibilities by its own comportment towards its surroundings in an unambiguous and confident I can, 146. And 3, it stands in discontinuous utility with both itself and its surroundings, meaning women can only use the body part they need and leave everything else immobile. So, in conclusion, women only move their body if they need to. But I disagree with that, because I just personally think that women have changed a lot more. We're doing a lot more. We're working more. We're doing things for us. So the whole feminist perspective, and, you know, we're fighting for our rights. We're fighting for our workers' rights. We're doing roles. We're almost like switching gender roles. We're working more. We're less likely to stay at home. And we're becoming physically stronger too. People think I can't lift anything until I lift a human body off the ground, because I'm a dancer and I'm a lifter. So, all in all, I think it's interesting how Young expresses how the differences are between males and females. But yeah, that was looking at Throwing Like a Girl, Phenomenology of Feminine Body Comportment, Motility, and Spatiality by Marion Young.